introduction. So my topic is an overview of vitreoretinal surgery. Everything is in the video based. So there was a time where you used to do the 360 pectomy and followed by passing the sutures, middle sutures under the rectal muscles to treat the retinal detachment with scheduled buckling surgeries. Nowadays, the current indication is phased retinal detachment in young patient with only one or two breaks, especially inferior artery if it is phased, then followed by localization of the break and adequate chiropractic, then passing the partial thickness sterile suture with for the like passage of a buckle, and then this tip spatula to needle and tying the ethibond suture and passing the buckle here, and then followed by tying the knots, followed by passing the encirclage, and then encirclage should be passed and it's to be fixed to the sclera. You can do the surgery with or without drainage also, and finally cut tie the your knots and check the pulsation of the central retinal artery. So this was the very cumbersome procedure to tackle all the retinal detachment cases. So nowadays, like there is a revolutionary innovations in beard surgery, that is the introduction of the minimally invasive retinal surgery from 20 gauge to 23 gauge, 25 gauge, and 27 gauge. Everything the high speed vitrectomy cutter, and we are getting it, and self-sealing scleral ports. It is absolutely in a closed chamber vitreous surgery, and you can use nowadays we are using H plus with valved trocar blade cannulas with curved laser probes so that you have a lens touch. Another thing, wide angle, wide field visualization with the help of contact or non-contact lenses. Now coming to the basic retinal detachment surgeries, where we can use the high speed cutter in either core vitrectomy mode, where you can use the high suction but less cutting rate, but for the peripheral excision, we use the less suction high speed cutter. Now induction of PVT with the help of staining the dye with triamcinolone acetylene, and with or without PFCL you can just fill the highlight phase. If you use the PFCL, you can just settle the posterior pole and for the to make the movement of the detached retina so that you can avoid iatrogenic retinal breaks. Now, then another invention, it is the introduction of the central nerve system, because when you treat the phakic case, sometimes you may for the during vitreous base excision, you may touch the lens. So if you use the central slide, you can depress the vitreous base from the opposite side, and you can jolly well do the vitreous base excision without any avoidance. You can any touch the lens. Now, for the vitreous base excision, you can use the PFCL also, without PFCL also. So if you use PFCL, you can do jolly well vitreous base excision without any avoidance, any iatrogenic retinal breaks. So this is the concept of wide angle visualization. Now coming to the internal drainage of subretinal fluid, if you can previously used to do the retinotomy, create a retinotomy, then aspirate the fluid from the posterior pole in the supranasal area, one of the most bullous part of the retina. But nowadays we are using PFCL to drain the fluid from the anteriorly existing break, and then you remove the SRF and do the laser and complete your surgery in a good manner. In a case of Marfan syndrome, like in the drop crystalline lens with retinal detachment, when there is happened and there is a GRT, it's such a complicated case, you can use the PFCL again to lift up the lens from the detached retina, and you can jolly well do the lensectomy here without any creation of that element. So safety of the surgery has gone up in so much, so you can do these are the all innovations that happened. Now coming to the giant retinal tear, where there is a very large tear, more than 90-degree circumferentially. So use of PFCL, it is to settle the retinal detachment, and as well as the vitreous base excision. Then you can see you can jolly well excise the vitreous base and do the split exchange, settle the retina, and now silicone PFCL exchange with the help of Sandra sludge, injecting silicone on the left hand, and removal of PFCL with the left hand. Another case of retinal detachment where I am just using PFCL to settle the posterior pole up to the to margin of the giant tear, and you can excise the vitreous base with the especially taking care of the corneal part, and excise the anterior flap also, and after that inject silicone oil and go for silicone PFCL exchange. So these are the things. Now another tricky situation is retinal detachment of macular hole where there is this existing infrared break, and when macular hole is there, it just inject the PF cell and inject the BBG dye in between PF cell and the detached retina, so that you can hold the dye nicely in between PF cell and the retina. And you can use the Tano scratcher, or you can use the forceps also to do the inverted ILM flap. Nowadays we are treating this case of complicated cases without any problem. So you can see it is all set, like you feel stability has increased lots of in these cases. So these are the things. Now do fluid exchange and laser from the peripheral breaks, and just as the inverted flap is there over the macular hole, it will close the macular hole. And these are the versatile use of PFCL. Now, post-operatively, after 4 hours, you can see the macular hole started closing. So signs of closure, and after 3 weeks, it's almost closed, and it's then further improvement. It's case of closed funnel retinal detachment, closed funnel PVR, where dealing with this vitrectomy and as well as open up the closed funnel configuration and doing the membrane peeling as much as possible. And it is not mandatory to, it is not possible to remove all the membranes. Still, you can do it. You can do ILM peeling also by staining the dye and inject a PFCL to settle the retina, detached retina as much as possible. Now, there is a concept of phaco-vitrectomy. Once upon a time, we used to do the lensectomy in case of retinal detachment. Nowadays, days are gone. So we used to do phaco and inject the IUL and then treat the case as a pseudophakic detachment. Now use the Sandilard's light, you can treat the RD as a pseudophakic detachment, no problem. So these are the things. Now coming to the macular surgery, where a lot of innovations has come with the chromophaectomy. Recently, we are using 3 standard dyes. First, triamcinolone acetonide to stain the vitreous, followed by triamcinolone blue dye to stain the ERM. And ERM, you can see that it is reflecting like anything. You can see the membrane wherever it is, and you can feel the membrane. They have a forceps, remove it from the most prominent and most stained area, and you can remove the if the residual ERM is there, you can use the suction of the cutter also, because nowadays the modern cutter, the cutter tip is very close to the retina, especially 25 gauge or 27 gauge, and then inject the dye like BBG to detect the ILM. And these are the these are the dye routinely we are using for the macular surgeries, Typhon blue as well as the BBG dye to peel the ILM. And for the macular surgery, start the peeling from the like you can start the create the flap from the away from the macula, or you can start it from the whole margin. Like you can peel it in a onion peel fashion, either clockwise or anti-clockwise manner, and slowly you can enlarge the ILM peeled area so that you can get a better closure pattern. If you consider more than 3 diameter, that will help you to close even the larger macular holes as well as the smaller macular holes. So now the concept of this is inverted ILM flap technique, where you are starting the ILM peeling from temporal side, then invert a large flap over the macular hole area, and so that the hole will be closed by this inverted flap, and then peel the ILM as such. So do the fluid exchange, little bit aspiration of fluid from the macular hole area, taking care of the flap area, not to lose the flap. So for the large macular holes, we routinely these things. Now coming to the diabetic cases, where you can see a lot of membrane proliferation here, and there is a focal retinal traction retinal detachment. Peel the membrane from the detached retina slowly, gently, so that it could be avoid attenuated break. Sometimes the large this thing is also there. You can do the chopstick manner also. Sometimes in a case of combined retinal detachment, you can use the PFCL and cut the bridging TRD, bridging traction segment of membrane. And again, you can use the PFCL in between the highlight phase and the detached retina, and lift it up gently, taking care of the underlying detached retina. Sometimes during the traction, you may create a retinal detached break formation. So these are the things you should really reconsider. Another thing is fold back delamination. This is the broad-based thin flexible membrane is there, and you can just keep the cutter tip over the membrane area, and loose part of the membrane will come into full back over the cutter. And another thing is for the rigid thick membrane, you can do the conformal delamination. So these are the things you should remember. You should apply it accordingly. Sometimes proportionate reflux, you should use it in between the insinuating the cutter between the Hallett phase and the retina, and and use the proportional reflex property of the cutter, modern cutter, to lift up the Hallett phase. And as even the proportional reflex diabetic retinopathy, you can use it. Sometimes it's not possible, so you can use the visco dissection using the curved visco cannula and attached to the VFC syringe. In this case of advanced proliferative diabetic retinopathy, we can use this insinuate the cutter in between the membrane and the detached retina and inject the viscoelastics so that it can be the membrane can be separated easily from the underlying detached retina. Now cut the membrane. Another thing is bimanual dissection, where when you can bimanually segment all the membrane with the help of forceps and as well as the cutter. Sometimes you have to use the curved scissor also. You can cut the segment of membrane as such, and sometimes even for the diagonal record for the advanced cases like extensive membrane formation, cut the membranes one by one. So apply it accordingly according to the severity of the cases. Now coming to the glue IOL, is sterile fixed IOL usually used to do previously with the help of suture. It was a dislocated sterile fixed IOL suture. Sterile fixed IOL, you can see the eye also done 8 years back. Now the IOL has dropped down, SFR has dropped down, so I am planning for the glued IOL surgery. So remove the IOL and do the vitreous base excision, mark the proposed site of the flap formation, a triangular flap with a limbal hinge, and you can use the multiples and made the Schwarz Gabbard Schwarz canal parallel to the limbus, and then exercise the haptics one by one. First haptic followed by trailing haptics, and insulate the everybody. We are used to do this kind of surgery. So glue IOL is a landmark by Dr. Amod Agarwal. And you apply the glue, two components of the glue, one thick and thin, then just reappose the conjunctiva and no need to do any suture. Nowadays, my technique is to not to use glue. It is a sutureless surgery. You can create the two self-swinging scleral pockets just opposite to the one need to be apart, and extract the haptic and engage the haptic into the Gabbard Schwarz canal under the superficial scleral flap. And in the real life situation, we are making the scleral diagonal opposite two scleral pockets, and then using the multi-piece IOL for the haptic exteriorization, and one by one haptic was made out of the pocket, and now creating the tunnel here, staining the tunnel with the help of trypan blue dye, and insinuating the haptic underneath the superficial scleral flap. It will be under the superficial scleral flap nicely and tightly, so that it can be glue can be avoided, and glueless sutureless surgery. Now use it in dropped IOL, dropped nucleus, dropped lens, whatever subluxed cataract, where the adequate lens support, capsular support is not there. You can use it in the 23 gauge, 25 gauge, as well as 27 gauge surgery. So in all gauges, it is helpful, and it is very much our study has been published in the AJO. So this is the concept of sutureless, glueless SFR. Now coming to the subretinal hematoma surgeries, where you can use the subretinal TPA, and you can use the anti-VEGF or subretinal anti-VEGF, as well as AR injection, just subretinal space with the help of 38 gauge or 41 gauge needle, either non-metallic or metallic needle. Use wait for some time. You can see the clot lysis already happened. So I am injecting the anti-VEGF dye again, and under as well as air to shift liquefied blood in the post-op period. Now you can get a good result after the surgery. Now 27 gauge vitrectomy, another surgery with straightaway entry of the 27 gauge Stoker blade, and like it is very helpful. Now its removal is also very easy. Now you can use it in the many multiple procedures, the basic surgery, where you can do the lensectomy in a case of microspheral dropped microspheral lens. So now the digitally assisted vitreoretinal surgery is another using 3D 4K OLED surgical system using passive circular polarized 3D glasses. This is the latest addition, where you can use you can enhance resolution and depth of field, expensive immersive surgical view complete real-time view of the surgical field you can get, and digitally enhanced image, less possibility of CT, and most importantly, in case of macro surgery, you can just stain the ILM, and you can use the digital filter for the better ILM filling, and in a concentric manner, this onion peel technique, you can peel the ILM. And so nowadays we are in 25 gauge plus 27 gauge plus cutter system with the valve cannulas, improved fluidic, and high speed cutter up to 10,000, or you can use the 15,000 parts per minute. So digitally assisted weird surgery, Ingenuity or Artivo, we can use it.
With all due respect, Dr. Worrell, actually it's time up. Would you please just wrap it up the session and continue?
It's done. Don't worry.
I'm done.